Welcome to today's episode of Expert Showcase. Today on the show we have Paul Michaels, and he's going to be talking to you, teaching you, and showing you all about how to fuel your success in life with wellness. Learn how to change how you do things, not what you do. Hey Paul, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Chris. How are you?
Epic as usual. I am so looking forward to having you
Great.
on the show. This is a smidge of a departure. We haven't had a lot of health and wellness. Well, I think we've had a few, but we haven't had a lot of health and wellness folks on. But the minute I read your story, the minute we started to connect online, I wanted to have you on the show because let's face it, being healthier is extremely important. If you're a coach, a consultant, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner, being healthier is an extremely important aspect of your life because if you forget your health, then a lot of other negative things can follow. So I wanted to have you on the show. I'm so honored and excited to have you on the show today. Before we get into everything about health, and by the way, folks, you definitely want to stick around to the very end of the episode, the end of the hour, because we've got a special way that you'll be able to work with Paul, and I'm psyched about it. You can see and hear and feel me. People know I've got a lot of energy, but I've got a little more today because let's face it, one of the things before we get to your episode real quick, Paul, people are probably wondering why I'm so excited. And part of it is I used to be 300 pounds. And while I didn't
Wow.
feel overweight or out of shape, I realize how much more I can do now that I'm not that weight. So that's one of the reasons why I'm so excited about having you on today in this topic. Folks, for those of you used to Expert Showcase, and for those of you who this is your first time, we're going to dive right in here to Paul's hero's journey. We're going to talk about the beginning, the turning point, and the aftermath. You're going to get a chance to see where Paul came from and where he's at now before we dive into the Experts Focus segment in the second half of today's show. So, Paul, give our viewers a quick overview of your hero's journey.
Well, I feel like I need my chainmail and my metal hat, and I'm ready to go on the journey here. Um, every hero's journey starts with our hero living their regular life, their normal life. And mine wasn't much different than a lot of people are probably watching the show or listening. I'm happily married, father of three kids who are now teenagers. I work from home, and my wife, she goes out to work, so I'm really in charge of taking care of kids and making breakfasts and lunches and running them around, and then all my work that I do on a daily basis. So I'm playing Mr. Mom, and so that's where I'm at. I'm this disheveled, approaching 50-year-old guy with three kids running around my dress skirts, and I'm off doing this, I'm off doing that. I come home, I'm trying to do a good job on what I do, and I'm a little overweight. I'm not extremely overweight, but I'm 35 pounds overweight. I have chronic back issues, and I just feel there. I've always been active as a young man. I did running. I love whitewater kayaking. I'm into hiking. I'm always active, and I always like doing things. And the idea of not being able to do things, is just, for me, is just horrible. So here I am in my regular life, and I'm frustrated. Now, the just to add another layer of absurdity to all of this, my house is actually a stone's throw from a brand new YMCA. And and so here I am. I'm a good boy. I schedule that I'm going to go to the gym 3, 4 times a week, and I put it in my schedule. And what happens is inevitably something comes up, whether it's a kid needs to go to the doctor or some work needs to be finished, and it's like, oh, okay, because I've siloed, I'm going to work, I'm going to exercise in this chunk of time. If something happens, that chunk of time goes away, and then I have to put it somewhere else, and that's the only time I get exercise. So I'm, like every hero starting their journey, I'm unhappy. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is. And then this little magical piece of metal falls from the sky. I have it here in my pocket. This little piece of metal here
Okay.
is a
Ah,
Fitbit One.
okay.
So I decide, I'm going to get a Fitbit One. I'm a guy, I think that technology is going to solve my problem. And so this is the thing that starts to change it. And as we all know in the hero's journey, there's that in the first quarter, there's a switch where something changes, and the hero is challenged to see whether or not they're going to accept the challenge or not. And so I had the Fitbit, and I started to see from a data point of view what my life was and what my life wasn't, right?
Hmm.
I would go to the gym still or still try, but then we got a dog and I started walking the dog, and it's like, oh, wow, I just walked a mile and a half. That's pretty good. Okay, what if I do that in the afternoon? You know, I'm a very curious person. I've always been a very curious person. As a kid, I used to take all the broken, appliances in the house apart to see how they worked. I never put them back together, but I would take them apart. So I've always been curious, and curiosity has always been a big part of who I am. So I had this Fitbit. I suddenly started seeing in numbers and charts what was going on. And I kind of, I bit the sandwich of adventure, and with this little piece of metal that's going to, save lives, I went out into the world and started to discover that if I didn't go to the gym, if I actually stopped going to the gym and looked at everything I did in my day, I would actually get a lot of exercise.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things that I hate doing, or I used to hate doing, was going grocery shopping for the family. I mean, who likes that? But now that I have the little piece of, that little magical piece of metal in my pocket, and it was telling me what was going on, I could go, oh, well, usually I burn 150 calories when I go grocery shopping. How can I make that 300 calories? How can I
Right.
double that?
And you know what, Paul?
Um,
Let me interrupt you for just 1 second
yeah,
because we're really going down. I think that's going to be a lot of great stuff for the expert
okay,
focus, and I think there's going to be other questions I'll have about that in
I'll
your
do it.
in the heroes. As we go through your hero's journey. What I love so far that you've said is really the beginning was, part of your beginning was a very athletic person, and you did a lot, and then at some point, not it's kind of like it happens to all of us. At some point, you know, weight just started to come on, and it wasn't anything that we intended. It's not like we sat there and ate 20, not that we were Peggy Bundy sitting on the couch eating bonbons all day long. And then we realize something has to change, and then we go through and we make this, the small changes to start us down our path, and when we realize the small changes work, then we get into bigger changes. Is that a good summary at this point of where we're at?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So, basically realizing that what I could do is kind of shift the focus from this traditional idea of you've got to go to the gym to get exercise, and instead make everything I do in my day an opportunity for exercise. And
Epic.
very quickly, what happened is within 6 months, I'd lost 30 pounds and I had walked 1,000 miles. And it's not like I went and walked a marathon. It's not like I went and, on some walkabout somewhere. This is just doing what I normally do every day, but looking at things differently. So that was a big shift, and that was when I started to realize that this was an adventure that was worthwhile and worth exploring. The other half, and we can discuss it in the second half of the show, but the other half is also obviously there are two components here. There's consumption or calories in and calories out. We've kind of talked about the calories out, but there were a whole bunch of experiments and things that I discovered with the calories in as well. So we can
Yeah.
discuss that later.
Epic.
But
So,
yeah,
so, so I want to dig a little bit more into your hero's journey, partly because, a lot of people who are, interesting enough, a lot of people who are overweight, and I say this because it's part of the way I felt was,
yeah,
we, even though I played sports, it wasn't that I was out exercising and doing other things, as a younger kid. So when I started to try and lose weight, the whole concept of exercise and a lot of concepts were really foreign. So what I want to do is dig a little bit into each of the areas here, just for a couple of minutes, real quick. Your beginning, your turning point, and the aftermath. And I want to go back to the beginning. And
To watch the rest of this epic episode now, click on the link below the video. Do it now, you'll be glad you did. Are you still here? What are you waiting for? Watch the rest of this epic episode now by clicking on the link below the video.